Today we're gonna talk about card upgrades. So in which order should we upgrade the cards? I have this, I call it the good old boneless standard approach, but I think this is like the standard for most people who are starting out at the game and stuff. So usually you start out with build or animals, and then you do cards or association, and sponsor kind of depends if you get one of these good sponsor cards.
If you really want to cherry pick, I think the most old school is having associate 1 or 2.
Is that really the old school way?
Yeah, that's like the pre-BGA way. I think more people started Handshake instead of University, and upgrade Assoc is a lot better when you start Handshake.
Yeah, that makes sense. I gotta be honest, I still sometimes play like this, with just upgrade build, upgrade animals, and then card association, sponsor depends. However, as I climbed in Arena, I really began to value sponsors more. I'm still not upgrading in every game, but now I'm definitely upgrading sponsors as one of the first ones. In most games, it feels like you should upgrade cards and association later on, but of course there are exceptions. Like for example, if you're on Commercial Harbor, you might upgrade cards first because you can sell these cards that you're getting. It's kind of like 3 gold production, or maybe even 6 gold production, if you look at it that way, upgrading cards because you can sell more cards, but at the end of the day, it's really not good to upgrade cards, so you have to be very careful.
If you're only getting 1 upgrade, upgrading cards first is horrible. Like you can do it on Commercial Harbor, but it's a bit meh. Like the only reason is if you don't have any cards in hand and you really need to find something to do. Sometimes like you might have 3 or 4 rep and like the cards on follow 1, 2, 3 are all excellent. So you wanna get at least 2 of them. Let's say your opponent built and reveal a card and you have like cards at 2. You can upgrade cards to snap it up before your opponent gets to snap it.
Recently there's a trend where you pros are upgrading cards a little bit less.
Yeah. At least by me, I think I upgrade too much. Like for example, Dwarven is upgrading at 65% of games. Right now I'm at 87% and I think that's too high. About 60% is more correct. But there's also a player in the top 20 with 98% cards upgraded, which is crazy high.
Oh wow.
98 Alice.
Alice, I think I played Alice.
Yeah.
It seems so high to me.
Yeah, that feels way too high.
One thing I was wondering here, what about the fact that pros are more likely to take snapping? Because you take snapping, you're less likely to upgrade cards, maybe.
Yeah, like a little bit, sure. But yeah, sure. I like to have that one.
Anything else to add about cards?
Probably worst upgrading game. I think main reason you want to upgrade cards is to get over 9 reputation. Because the bonuses above 9, it doesn't feel like a lot, but it's like 2 shield, 2 X tokens and 2 cards, which is a big deal for sure.
So if we look at this spreadsheet from Sam, we can see that the trend is really you want to upgrade more sponsors and you want to upgrade less association. What is the reason for this trend? It's just because sponsors is too good?
Yeah, it's very flexible. First of all, you can play the strongest card type for 1 power discount, but also like you can break when the break is bad for you and get like 5 extra money that way. If you see like sponsor share, for example, this is top 20. But I would say if you look at top 5 or top 7, it's probably more like 60%.
And definitely lower association and a lot lower cards, if we go back to the other one again.
Yeah, and also lower build. Because also worker on 2 CP is very popular, and then you're only getting 3 upgrades.
The trend is more sponsors and less association and less cards, right? That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
We can probably agree that there's no real correct way to upgrade cards, like the order of which you upgrade cards, but is there any way to know what you should upgrade first, or how do you look at the game?
It depends on a lot of factors, but also like skill level. If you're new to the game, I would recommend upgrading build first and followed by animals, because it's just easier to play.
Yeah.
That's my general tips, and I assume it's the majority of the audience watching this.
So basically what we're saying, there's no correct way in which order you choose to upgrade your cards, but it's kind of good to have these stats in the back of your mind, and then with this in your back of your head, you can be creative and figure out what's good for the game.
Yeah, I think one important thing is animal is such a crucial upgrade at some point of the game. It doesn't have to be your first, second, or third upgrade, but I feel it should be at 99%. I think that's the most optimal, because it's a card you kind of want to upgrade every game.
Yeah, like we talked about in the last video, when you get to the mid to late game, you kind of want to have fewer build-in card section. You kind of want to have more animals and association actions. If you want to watch a video that looks literally like this for like 1 hour, I recommend you watch this video from Sam. He also did a shorter version that's much more digestible. These stats are a bit older, but at least the video is only 10 minutes and it's very much to the point. What you upgrade may also depend on which map you're playing. So like if you're playing on Commercial Harbor, you might want to upgrade cards, but not even then. Because cards is a very bad card to upgrade to begin with. But also you might upgrade Association if you're playing on Outdoor Area. Let's talk about the build upgrade. On which maps would you consider not upgrading build?
It's easier to list the ones where you probably want to upgrade build.
Yeah, do that.
And I think it's Hollywood Hills Alternative. And yeah, that's it.
Alright. What about the old Hollywood Hills, like the original Hollywood Hills?
Yeah, you definitely need to upgrade build on that one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because my go-to is always upgrade build, upgrade sponsors. It's a good way to start on that map, I feel like. So you can claim all the rewards on the bottom. Yeah. So personally, I do upgrade build, I would say around 95% of games. Maybe a little less recently. I think top players are doing it 98% of games, but like we talked about, these stats are a little bit outdated. I think people are also beginning to upgrade build a little bit less. Oh yeah, and in your video from last year, you did say you should upgrade build 99% of games, but have you changed your view on this build upgrade?
I think the average player should upgrade 99% of games. I think if you're over 700 elo on VGA, I think about 85 to 90%.
But what about me, between 500 and 600?
You can have 98% of your build.
98, okay. I'm definitely below that, I think. It's
Maybe
kind of
you're future 700 elo then.
Yeah, maybe. Basically what we are saying is if you don't upgrade build, you have to really know what you're doing. It's kind of a big deal not upgrading build. You have to have a plan when you are choosing not to upgrade build.
It's a bit like playing with fire.
As of when I made this, which apparently was 17th of June, you had a lot of games here where you didn't upgrade build. I'm just saying. So in this game you didn't upgrade build, in this game you didn't upgrade build. I have some more examples here, but you're just playing around with it, or maybe it was just random. These are just the game where you happen to not upgrade build. I don't know. It's definitely funny. I was just looking at these stats. Oh, pros upgrade build 98% of times, and then I look at your stream and you never upgrade build. So
yeah, I changed my habits a bit over time. To give PropagandaPanda some credit, because he had a Smurf where he reached 700 elo without ever upgrading build.
Okay.
That's kind of impressive.
On some games you are more inclined to build a lot. Like if you have Side Entrance Engineer, of course you probably want to upgrade build so you can fill out the map and get those 10 tickets.
If you have a lot of money, upgrading build gets a lot better because you can spend your money more efficiently. I mean, it depends on if you want to play 5-size animals or 1-size animals a bit, right?
Yeah, I think you mentioned this in your video actually. What you said, and I'm quoting directly from your video, even though you're planning on building a 4-size, sometimes you need like a pavilion or something to connect the 4-size to where you want it.
This is a pretty bad example because usually you want to put the 4-size next to double water. But also like the placement bonuses in Ark Nova is such a big deal. Like they're very strong. So it's like very important to cover them up.
And here is the other quote I I have from your video. The games where you shouldn't upgrade build is usually when you have a lot of large efficient animals. If you have a lot of small animals, you kind of have to upgrade build, so you can build a 1-size and a 2-size. But if you have a few of these big animals, you don't really have to upgrade build if you're just building a 5-size or a 4-size.
Yeah. That's a horrible quote by me because I don't think large animals are very efficient. It's mostly the small ones that are efficient.
Like we talked about in the other video, it's not even because of the tickets, but it's more like the smaller animals just have more tags so you can get to the base conservation projects easier and stuff like this.
Yeah, and also like the bigger ones you're usually paying for an effect or conservation points that aren't very efficient.
To begin with,
yeah, like the big point dumps towards the end of the game. But large animals is not as efficient as small ones early on.
So basically you have to take it with a grain of salt, but it's still true, right? If you start the game with the fur seal, for example, well...
Oh yeah, okay. Fur seal is a perfect example for a big
efficient animal.
Yeah. But I think that's like the only big efficient animal at least I can think of.
I mean, probably Secretary Bird or something.
If you have a release, sure, but I mean, that's cheating.
Yeah, otherwise you're probably right, yeah. There's actually also a tournament game here where you also didn't upgrade build, because I figured you were just gonna say, no, I was just trolling on my stream, but even in a tournament game like this one, you didn't upgrade build either. So there's merit to not upgrading build sometimes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And actually, these tournament games, I really recommend you watch these. So this was between you and Dusselmore, and it was casted by PropagandaPanda and No Wonders. And if you don't know, all of these 4 players are some of the best players in the world. So there's a lot to learn. It's also funny when you bully each other. So the casters are like, no, why did he do that? I would have done this and stuff. This JD, he's so bad. Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, we have a lot of jabs at each other. I would also recommend another YouTube, which is only tournament games. It's called United Emo Friends Association.
And if we look at this tournament game, you actually also had a lot of releases, and on this map especially, releases are really good. So that also could be an idea that you do not necessarily have to upgrade build if you have a lot of releases, because then you can reuse your enclosures.
Yep, Sam just did a video about that yesterday.
Yeah, he did actually, yeah. This is what I mean when I say that it's really funny to watch the casters watch you guys play the tournament games, because the casters were really hating on you for building this random one size without having upgraded build. And then you didn't snap the Tasmanian Devil, you took the Expert and Predators, and the casters like, no, that's way too greedy. So in this move you upgraded sponsors and animals, and you snap the Expert and Predator and not the Tasmanian Devil or the Hyena Compound. The Hyena Compound is good for you because you have obviously Cable Car and Geologist. And then on the next move, Dazzlemore, he like digged away the Tasmanian Devil. He saw that you built a one size, but for some reason he didn't dig away Spotted Hyena Compound. So the casters were really like, oh my god, who are these two noobs playing? So
yeah, I don't think I misplayed, if I remember it correctly. Like, I had very good reasoning.
Yeah, you have a reason for building a one size and not taking the Tasmanian Devil.
Yeah. I don't know Darcel have a digger, which is kind of disaster. But I build a one size to make sure I can put out the Hyena Compound, otherwise I have to cover up 2 spots next to the tower. And I think my reasoning here is I'm either getting Tasmanian Devil or Spotted Hyena Compound, but not both of them. And Darcel's gonna have to snap one of them, and I'm gonna snap the other one.
Ah, okay. That actually makes
I
sense.
get really punished by him having a digging animal, but I didn't know about it. I don't think it's a misplay by me, because I think Hyena Compound is a stronger card for me. Let's say Darcy doesn't have a digging animal and snap something. I think he's gonna snap Hyena Compound in this position, and then I get the Test Devil or something like that. It's just hedging. Like, I'm not counting on getting both Hyena Compound and Test Devil, but this one size allows both cards to be good for me, right? Because I get a spot to place my Hyena Compound.
I think now that you explain it, it actually makes a lot of sense. I think you just put all of us to shame, both me and the casters.
I mean, the casters should feel ashamed, like, spreading misinformation like that.
Yeah.
If anyone should be ashamed, it's Darcy.
Yeah.
He
I was about to
doesn't
say.
dig away the Hyena Compound.
Exactly. That's what we were talking about on the next move. He digged away the Tasmanian Devil, and then he actually refused to dig again. And then after the game, they were like, why on earth didn't you dig away Spotted Hyena Compound? And he's like, oh no, I didn't see it. We can agree that's definitely a misplay. It's much easier to agree that your opponent makes misplays.
Yeah. I never make misplays. Darcel makes all the misplays.
Exactly. It's just been proven right here. And if we look at the end of the game, indeed you did play this Hyena Compound right here. Very nice for you. And of course you also got the iPics, because you literally can't play a game without having Cable Car, iPics, and
Geologist.
Geologist, yeah. Yeah, so like we talked about, big efficient animals is a thing, but it's not really that often it happens. And also, if you have the 2 enclosure reward, you could consider not upgrading build. There is actually this cool play I saw from one of your streams. If you're actually taking the worker on 2 shields and get the 2 enclosure reward, and then you just don't upgrade build, pretty much what it comes down to, would you rather have the 2 size reward, or would you rather have a card upgrade? So if you're doing it like this, maybe you wouldn't upgrade build, but it still really depends on the game, like always.
Yep.
It's kind of become more popular to take the 2 VP worker.
Started last year with one of the Chinese players, Alpha Boo. He started the trend, and then it died down for a bit, but I think it's very much back on the menu. But what he did was always get the 2 size and never flip build. I think there's more nuances to it.
It's a cool way to think about the game. But it should be said that if you are choosing the worker on 2 VP, then you really have to figure out which 2 card upgrades you will not upgrade this game. And real quick, here is one of my games where I decided to do this trick that I saw on your channel. I can get the university here with a 2 size reward, and also have only big animals in my hand. And then I also deny him to get the hand size, because that's a university he wants to get. It's really annoying for him that I took it, because now he's either stuck with getting the 2 science university, or he has to get like a handshake or something, and he kind of don't want to do that because he wants to get an upgrade. So this is my map when we were finished. It's like literally the only game where I ever played Emu and feel good about it, because now I get this free bird aviary, and I thought it was kind of cool that I had an aviary even if I didn't upgrade build.
Yeah, that aviary made a lot of work for you, I can tell.
Exactly. So
it only cost you 16 money, you know?
I know, and I was so happy about it. And then when the game is over, I didn't even get one bird. Now let's talk about your bread and butter. Let's talk about the sponsor upgrade. According to some people, I'm not gonna mention any names, You should upgrade sponsors in most games. If you are playing some of these very good sponsor cards, you're more inclined to upgrade sponsors. But of course, nowadays, especially you, kinda upgrade sponsors anyway, so you don't really have to get some of these. Explorer and Talented Communicator are of course like the gold standard, also Science Lab I guess. And then Basic Research, I think I would sometimes upgrade sponsors for it, but not every time. On the stats from Sam, it's only 42, but the trend has definitely become upgrade sponsors more often.
60% I think is the
Is that the 60% top 20 players or only top 7 players?
top 7 players.
Okay, so top 7 players, you guys are really upgrading sponsors a lot. Cool.
Yeah.
Upgrading sponsors feel better if you're going for Unistrat, because this would give you like 2 upgrades. Sponsors in 2-player games. You talked about it's a little bit extra good because it's very important to control the breaks in 2-player games. So like I talked about, upgrading sponsors makes you flexible because you can play sponsor cards from the display, creating threats that your opponent has to deal with. You can break 5 to get 10 gold and an X token. You can play level 2 sponsor cards, and also you can play several other sponsor cards at once. So for example, the 3-cost sponsor cards gets more valuable. So let's talk about association. In some cases, you could also upgrade association first, but generally speaking, it's also one of these that you want to upgrade later, I feel. So it could be that you are doing partner zoos and you really want the 3rd partner zoos because of worker. Maybe you have the habitat diversity on 5, and it could be nice to get some more handshakes to win that race to 5.
I think old outdoor areas, you can get your 3rd partnership after the first break that way. And I'm working with that. And then you can also donate twice to get to 2 CP for another card flip.
Yeah. It could also be that you just need 1 more shield to reach a partner or Unisu bonus on the conservation track, especially here on 5 if there's a uni here. It's actually worth upgrading sponsors if you just know that you have some way to get 4 points, and then the last shield that you can get is just what gets you over the edge to get the uni. Here is an example of what I was talking about. This is one of your games from a while back. You're going for €4, then you get 4 points, and then you just need 1 more point to push you to get that free university before your opponent. So in that case, it makes a lot of sense to upgrade association.
Also, if I'm not flipping a Soch here, I'll probably flip Behold. If my opponent doesn't break 5, I can even take a card's action and then spend an X on a Soch and then flip Behold. So this looks like a very clear-cut case where you wanna flip a Soch.
Yeah. So you should upgrade association in 57% of games.
If you look at the strongest player in the list, it's around 40 to 50.
It goes in line with the trend to upgrade association a bit less, yeah. Personally, I mostly upgrade association 3rd or 4th, or not at all. And obviously, if you don't have the Asia handshake and you do pick up a Sun Bear, then immediately that's a reason to upgrade association, just so you can play that Sun Bear in the late game. Or maybe you're fighting for habitat diversity on 5. In that case, upgrading association also makes sense sometimes, so you can get the 3rd handshake, and that might be the last continent you need if habitat 5 is open. I think you made this point that it also depends how the shields are spread on the map. It's also like an incentive to upgrade association if you have these 2 victory points on the 4th spot on the partner zoo track.
I think upgrading a Soch on Silver is horrendously bad. Because if you're gonna be grabbing partner zoos, like you don't have as many times as getting your 3rd university, for example, which gives 2 CP on it.
So this is my way of thinking about the game. I just need like a little incentive to not upgrade association. If I get full-throated at Taco, well, I mean, then I almost literally never upgrade association, because then I'll already have the last worker. So I don't feel like upgrading association is good in that case. It could also be that you simply need all the other upgrades. Maybe you only have 3 upgrades even, because you took the worker onto VP. And like we talked about, if you're going for Unistrat, upgraded association gets a lot weaker, because the strength about upgraded association is kinda to have the handshakes and get the extra worker there. And like we said a million times already, university strat is where you go the 2 universities and you get 1 reputation off of the map or something, and then you get to 5 reputation really quickly. That's why we are kind of thinking that you get 2 upgrades by going university strat, and why it's slightly more popular these days. I think me personally, it actually takes very little convincing to not upgrade association. This and cards, I think, are the ones that I'm less likely to upgrade. Now let's talk about the animal upgrade. You should upgrade 98% of games. For newer players, when you're starting out, it feels very ideal to just upgrade animal first or second, because then you can play animal on 5 and you can get another reputation, and then you can go further on the reputation track. If you have tons of reputation already, you can get away with upgrading animals later. So this is like the idea I had for the most time when I've been playing, but I've begun to shake it up a little bit. What do you think about this? I have a feeling you have a different approach, right?
I don't think the second worker is that essential anymore. At least in 2 plays, very break heavy. But I mean, I do agree with the theory presented here.
So why is it that we say that you should upgrade animal in every game? It's literally the only upgrade you should always upgrade. Of course, there's this idea that you have to upgrade animals to play some of the really strong late game animal cards like Eagle and Indian Rhino and stuff like this. But it's not even about that, because even on Research Institute, you should still upgrade animal because it does provide you a reputation, and also really importantly, it provides you this idea that you can play 2 animals at 3 strength, which you're gonna need later. And also you can play animals from display, which is also very relevant. So there's just so many good things about upgraded animals.
You're not always gonna want to take animals at 5, so it's very important to take animals at 3 or even like 2 with the next token, especially in the later rounds, which is kind of important. I mean, the early rounds are also very important. I'd say most games are won like pre-break 1 and after that.
Oh really?
Or like, yeah. I mean, at least at the high level.
So people like me, what are we messing up in the first couple of turns that's so important? What is it that you do right and I do wrong?
I mean, there's a million examples.
Yeah, probably.
But like the thing I hate the most is when people just build a kiosk instead of taking like an X token. That's just awful. Sorry, to get back to the main point here, it's very good like last round before the game ends. You might want to take animals at 3 and then you might want to spend 2 X's to take animals at 3 again. So it's like very relevant, have it flipped.
Yeah, for sure. Like we've talked about, in the late game, the big point getters have animals and association. So those 2 should be in prime position. So if you can play 2 animals at 3, it's of course a big advantage in the late game.
Yep. Also, one important thing to mention is the game gets a lot simpler if you just upgrade animals every game. Like, you don't have to play like Dwarvintime, who just does things because they're cool. Why make it hard for yourself?
What is Dwarven doing that's cool? I'm curious.
No, it's not very cool. He just thinks it's cool, but he's just trying to be like special, you know? I mean, it works for him most of the time. But like...
Yeah, that's the annoying part, right?
Yeah, but like if you just play normally as well, it would also work, which is kind of funny.
Because if there are some good sponsor cards in the, I want to call it Imperial row, but that's wrong. That's Dune. What's it called? Display.
It's no atomics either.
Yeah, exactly. It would be great. I want family atomics in Ark Nova.
Well, I mean, digging is kind of like atomics, but... Oh.
I like the thematic clash with just having atomic weapons in your zoo.
Oh yeah, that should be an expansion for sure.
Yeah.
We got Marine Worlds as the first expansion. Maybe next expansion should be like Modern Zoo Fair or something.
Yeah, Modern Zoo Fair. Or it could be how you build your zoo after the World War III. Every animal is like different because now they have a lot of disformities because of all the radiation.
Oh yeah, you can add like rat counters and stuff. That's kind of cool. That would be a good expansion.
If there's an elephant with like 7 legs, I would definitely pay more to go see that, right? Because it's a freak.
Oh yeah. Maybe you want to see something normal though if you're living in a post-apocalyptic world.
Oh yeah. If the developers are watching, we have some ideas for the next expansion.
At least on stream, I try to play as optimal as possible. I mean, I don't play on Brian anymore because all Western players, excluding China, agreed to not use Smurfs this season.
Oh, okay.
But that's a different topic, but it's been a real issue with mostly shiny Smurfs. It was kind of stupid. I think for a while there was like 3 people with a Smurf account each in the top 10. Because it's very easy to reach 2k in arena, at least for me. But it's very hard once you go up 2100.
Me and my friend who played a lot, that kind of the thing that defeated him. He was like, he didn't want to play anymore because he kept losing to these account with a lot of numbers. And he's like, well, there's no way this guy's a bronze, right? So I think he kind of got broken by the Smurfs. That's a really nice idea that you're cutting off Smurfs.
Not to bash an entire country, but I think my Smurf and PropagandaPanda Smurf and BDW Smurf, I think they all have been fair, having a high rating, high elo. So like, of course, they're gonna start at bronze, but everyone starts at bronze. It has been at least like a fair trade to play against. Maybe not as optimal as playing the main account, but kind of close to it. But there's been some issue with the Chinese player, especially last season. The fact they have like 1 million accounts and they're trying to snipe top Western players. Yeah, basically with a 1300 account. Definitely not all Chinese. It's mostly 4 people, I think, from China who has whole network of Smurfs.
So it's only the Western people who agreed to not use Smurfs anymore? You haven't talked to these Chinese players, I guess?
We have talked to them, but they did not agree to not use Smurfs.
Alright, yeah, I see.
When I say we have talked to them, we haven't talked to the entire nation of China. We have talked to the group of 4 people, but they think it's fair game to play on a 1300 arena account. It's been a real issue with just these 4 people, which is too bad, like, Because there's no monetary gain in winning an arena season. It's just bragging rights. We always play to have fun.
Yeah, of course. I think it's good that you, at least the Western guys, try to eliminate Smurfs, because I've climbed to 1800, 1850, and every time I just end up losing to some bronze opponents with a lot of numbers, and I'm like, I'm done. You win 10 games and then you lose 1 game to this Smurf and you are back where you started. It's demoralizing for people in my bracket who are like still losing a lot of points because we're high rated but are not good enough to climb all the way to 2k.